There's another fake alpha male, which I'm really excited to see.
All right, so in this video, we have this bodybuilder, gym influencer who goes by Big Mike,
Big
but Man-Child
Mike.
Mike I think is a more appropriate.
He looks kind of red in the face. Is he okay? He looks like he has chlamydia in his nose.
Bruh.
Is he all right?
Name for him now because recently he let his roid rage get the best of him and he proved that he has the temperament of a toddler because he decided to literally attack this other really popular bodybuilder fitness influencer, Jeff Nippard.
Oh, I watch this guy sometimes. He has good videos. He does good tier lists of like ranking exercises for each muscle group. He's actually cool. He assaulted Jeff Nippard at the gym. I can't imagine Jeff Nippard getting into a fight. From everything I've seen of him, he's a very like cool, calm, collected guy. Just a different guy. Yeah, this is a different guy than the last one. They all just look the same. They're all just bald dudes with big beards screaming online. Jeff Nippard seems like a very calm, cool, collected individual. I don't think he's on steroids. If he is, I would be surprised, but I don't think he's on roids at all as far as I can tell. It wasn't a fight on Jeff's part. It was an assault. We'll have to keep watching to figure out what actually happened, but I can't imagine him being particularly aggressive. You know, he doesn't seem like one of these gear guys.
Over a video Jeff made where he was responding to Mike. Like Mike had started this back and forth by trashing Jeff, even though he wouldn't say his name because he's too scared, but everybody knew who he was talking about. Then when Jeff responds, Mike attacks him. That's how cowardly this guy is. So he had been making videos trashing Jeff's style of lifting and bodybuilding because...
Think aggressive thoughts. What an epic shirt. Think aggressive thoughts. I'm based. I'm an asshole and I'm proud. That's the kind of shirt you want. That proves that you're a cool guy. A black shirt with impact font saying think aggressive thoughts.
I guess Jeff is a more science-based lifter who focuses on technique and diet and health and stuff.
People saying Jeff is on roids. Honestly, I don't think so. I'm not an expert, but you know, I've watched enough silly YouTube videos about it and seen guys in the gym that are, you know, because I'm gay, obviously, they're like clearly on roids versus not. He doesn't look like he's on roids just because even in the best lighting ever, he is big, but he doesn't have like crazy vascularity. He doesn't look extremely lean. Like he has a good amount of body fat on him. So I don't think he's on roids, honestly. I'd be pretty surprised. Like, if you're going to be that big, that's probably an expected amount of body fat and like vein, you know, showing.
And not taking steroids, which apparently there's a lot of contention in the bodybuilding community between science-based lifters and lifters who are just doing whatever it takes at any cost to try to get as big as possible. So Mike had been criticizing Jeff and lifters like him for not wanting to take steroids and also just not being big enough to have the right to coach people or give people advice on lifting.
This particular video was a very nerdy individual going in depth about Sam Sulek's workout regimen, sets and rep schemes. Where the most outlandish thing about the video is that this person stated that they had watched all of this person's training videos. And also, a sidebar, Sam looks 1000% better than this person does. And of all these tips about how to do stuff, and they're like the biggest dorks out there, they look the worst. Like they don't look good. They're not even developed. Like they're giving you tips for triceps or back.
This is such a weird thing to say. This must just be pure insecurity from the fact that this guy is on gear, because Jeff Nippard, even compared to some dudes on steroids, is huge. He is big as this guy is a monster.
The internet thinks I'm wrong.
To be that big with no gear is serious. This guy is huge. This is like super big. Sam is massive though. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously Sam Sulek is bigger than him and has more definition, but Sam's also definitely on steroids, right? Like you can't deny that. If you look at Sam Sulek, that guy, there's no way you can look like he does without roids. There's no way. You will never look like this guy does without using steroids. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. And that's obvious. He admits it. Yeah, I don't think he's trying to hide it. But like clearly, does Sam look better? I don't know. Honestly, it depends on like how far down the bodybuilding, body dysmorphia rabbit hole your mind is. I don't think I'd ever want to be that big, to be honest. It's a little bit much. But like ultimately, like the gym nerd guys, the guys who are super scientific about it, about the amount of calories in, calories out, foods that are beneficial for you, supplements that are beneficial for you, the next exercises, those guys are going to be the biggest natural lifters, undoubtedly. So I don't know. To say that Jeff Nippard is like, oh, he's such a nerd. It's like, if you're into weightlifting, don't you take pleasure in the science of it? The alterations you can make to your body slightly that can edge you out percent of a percent?
Whatever, and you take like a critical look at their physique and you're like, you don't even have any. Your arms are twigs. You have no fucking back.
Twigs. Jeff Nippard, his arms are twigs. That is insane.
expert on all this movement. Then why isn't it applying to you? Just because these natty guys are so insecure. You're too insecure to pull the trigger and make a move and just make a decision that could impact your life. Like, you're gonna have to be conscious of your health more. You have to understand that things are gonna happen. But guess what, dude? All of us are gonna fucking die one day. And just because...
Yeah, you're just going to lose IQ points and die a lot earlier. All these guys are so insecure, they're not even willing to take gear. All these guys are so insecure, they're not even willing to shoot up much testosterone that makes their hair fall out, makes them want to beat people up in public. Like, yeah, that's, yeah, clearly people who don't take roids are the insecure ones, okay?
Because you were natty your whole lifetime doesn't mean you get a gold plaque on your fucking tombstone, dipshit. You just get a smaller coffin, man. Like, it's like to hang your hat on that and be so proud of it.
So he gets a smaller coffin and he'll die when he's 80 instead of when he's 48.
So he had made quite a few videos where it sounds like he's talking about Jeff, even though he obviously wouldn't say his name for some reason. But people in the comments could tell he was referring to Jeff. So then he made another video recently talking about science-based lifters and basically calling it a scam. So Jeff decided to respond to it, and probably...
Science-based lifting is a scam? How can you say that unironically? If you're going to take steroids in any way, which, you know, I'm not going to shit on people necessarily for taking steroids, you have to be aware of the negative health consequences that can have. People who take steroids have literally talked about how as soon as they get on gear, they start just having violent thoughts about like ripping people in half. Yeah, it also shrinks your balls too, which is great.
The most respectful and polite way possible. I mean, he didn't really say anything bad about Mike. He's just defending himself. And also answering a question from Mike that he had in his video. That's another thing. Mike asked a question for science-based lifters. So one of them decided to respond, you know, Jeff. And when he does, Mike flips out and acts like Jeff was totally out of line for it. And it's funny because Mike tries to act like Jeff isn't a legit bodybuilder. But it looks like Jeff has had a much more successful career than Mike.
Somehow you're an expert on muscle, but you don't have any. And if you do have any, it's not that well put together, and there's a lot of like holes in the physique, and you've prided yourself on being strong. Fucking little, but I'm strong. Fucking stronger than you, dude.
But like, you know, I'm sure this guy has lifted his ass off to get where he is. He is pretty big, but like, obviously a lot of that was because of steroids. You can't deny that. Like, you basically just took a cheat code to get as big as you are. Jeff Nippard didn't do that. He got big on his own merits. He got big from actually lifting and improving his diet without doing an, you know, extra natural method of taking hormones your body isn't supposed to have in that amount of excess. Is this just insecurity, or is he selling steroids? Is he trying to pressure people into taking his roids? Why do they need to do this?
It's like, strong doesn't matter. You still are trying to squat 6 plates. I'm not squatting 6 plates. My legs are still bigger than yours. But they got these fucking nerds or these fucking dorks. They try and prove themselves in shows and they come in like fucking last. There's a lot of scammers. Science guys really need to answer this question before anything. Why is it that you remain so mediocre, yet you know so much?
I know I don't need to respond to this, but since he asked, using science-based training, I want natural body.
I hate hearing Canadians talk. Yeah, same. You get used to it with time. You get desensitized to whatever's wrong with them. Weedman, thank you for the dono.
Bodybuilding nationals. I earned my pro card on the most competitive stage in the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation. I placed second in my first bodybuilding pro show, and while doing this, I set the Canadian record on the bench press, and I set a provincial record on the squat. I currently weigh 180 pounds at 5'5"
Jeez.
tall. Pretty close to my
180 at 5'5"? That is so big. That is, I didn't realize he was that short, but that is giant. Is a science guy natural? I believe he is. I believe so. Yeah, that you could achieve this naturally, I think. You could do it. He's not like unreasonably giant. You could do this if you're really disciplined and it's your main focus in life. You're spending every day thinking about it.
I currently weigh 180 pounds at 5'5" tall, which is pretty close to my natural limit given my height and my genetics. That's all besides the point though, because facts are facts. Information is either right or wrong. It doesn't matter who that information is coming from. If the people with the best physiques had the most knowledge, why would C-Bum need a coach? He has the best physique on the planet. Who could possibly know more than him? Well, it's pretty obvious that bodybuilding success comes from great genetics and really hard training, and if you want to make it in the IFBB, steroid use. I like science because it gives me more confidence in what actually works and what doesn't because it isolates variables. If you trust a big guy's advice over scientific studies, that doesn't bother me. I listen to what big guys have to say too.
So when Jeff made this response, I guess it just set Mike off. And these two...
It's a very calm, collected response too. And it's not like he's spewing a bunch of bullshit either. It's not like he's like, you know, a wolf in sheep's clothing lying while saying it calmly. He's saying things calmly because he doesn't have roid rage, because he's not an idiot. He's not an angry person. He's confident in who he is and himself. He listed his accomplishments, and then he carefully explained, like, you know, obviously, you know, roids change everything, but I don't want to do that. I'm a natural guy. I don't want to do that. I want to genetic potential without that.
Apparently go to the same gym together. So next time they're both there, Mike went up to Jeff and grabbed him by the neck, or like pushed him by the neck and threw him to the ground.
Holy
which
shit.
is obviously insane, you know, over one
What the
response
fuck?
video from Jeff. Like, that's all it took. So people who were trying to defend Mike.
Wait, that was insane. Can I get more footage of that? I feel like we skipped over that a little bit. Greg Doucette.
All of this was filmed by his cameraman, but they released only that 6-second clip.
The moment you've been waiting for. Jeff Nippard has sent me all of the footage. Everything that was said, what happened before the altercation, everything.
Weightlifting drama is crazy right now. Normal YouTube drama, people just tweet at each other. In weightlifting drama, they throw each other to the ground in public in a gym.
And not only that, we also
Holy
have
fuck.
CCTV footage. And so we're going to see
He just walked up to him and decked him? This guy's a caveman.
once and for all, who is really at fault?
Jesus.
Was it actually
He pushed him over a bench? Yeah, he flew back like 10, 15 feet. Dude, in a gym where there's heavy weights around, he could have easily killed him. If he hits his head on a heavy weight or a machine, he could not be able to walk again. He could have like permanent brain damage. This guy, Mike, is psychotic.
Jeff that instigated the entire thing? Or
This
is
guy should be in jail.
it still Mike to blame after all? And so by the end of this video, you'll be able to decide for yourself. Who is to blame? Is it Jeff? Is it Mike? Is it both of them? What is going to happen in court? What will be the outcomes? Everything going to be discussed in this video. And so initially, the first interaction that happens today, after Jeff had made that response video, was Mike Van Wyck walks up to Jeff while he's doing a set. He gets in his personal space. Jeff is clearly recording. He's recording all the time. This is a gym where everyone records. It's similar to zoo culture, and so this is the norm. It's to be expected. And every person that goes into that gym signs a waiver that says you may in fact be caught on film. People know about this. They accept this. Mike Van Wyck is literally a staff that works at that gym, or shall I say,
This is, there are these like bodybuilding influencer gyms. When I filmed that Vegan Gains video, he took me to a gym where not everyone there was filming, but there were other people filming other than us, filming their workouts on their phones, and nobody even batted an eye that I had a camera guy there with me. Like, it wasn't even shocking to them at all. This is how big like influencer gym culture is. People pay a premium to go to a gym where they can record, and it's like VidCon every day, but for lifting. Tom, am I a wimp for being scared of using heroin? Yeah, you're a total coward, bro. What's wrong with you?
worked at that gym. And so he's there all the time. And so he would be aware of this. And so he decided on that day to walk up to Jeff, perhaps a foot from his face, getting in his personal space while he's doing a set and saying sup. And so of
Vine
anyone
boom.
that started this,
I did not add the Vine boom, by the way. He did. I did not add the Vine boom. This is him.
clearly it's Mike. Imagine if Jeff had done the same thing. If Mike Van Wyck had been at the gym doing a set, perhaps training his clients, and Jeff had walked up to him in his face and said, sup, that would have provoked him. But this is not what happened. Mike provoked Jeff by walking up to him and saying, sup. Now,
Jesus.
after this, and Jeff's cameraman acknowledged.
Okay, but the main concern for me is going to be like who put their hands on who first, right? Like, even if this guy, Jeff, starts some kind of argument or shit on him or was like, you're gay, you know, I would say he deserves to be shoved on the ground like that. The only thing I think would justify Mike's reaction is if Jeff had previously like punched him or tried to shove him or something like that, and then he came back, right? That's the only justification for this. Retaliation. Otherwise, there's no need to shove someone on the ground like that. It is absolutely insane criminal behavior. So far, I think that this guy right here should not be out on the street. Is sup provocative? I mean, it can be if you have like internet beef with someone. If you're a lot bigger than them and you're trying to intimidate them, it can be a little bit. Like if you walk up to someone, get in their personal face and they're like, what's up, bro? Like it can be a little bit provocative for sure.
Acknowledges this, Jeff then chuckled. Wouldn't you do the same thing? Think of it. You're doing a set, you're at the gym, you're filming for YouTube, you're mid-set, and a man walks up to you within a foot of your face and says, sup. Well, you just ruined my set, I'm filming, but hey, I'll redo it. But he's got to find it funny. Look at bro walking in my face.
Look at bro walking in my face. The way this guy talks with the sound effects is so funny. Look at bro getting in my face. Vine boom.
And saying sup. And so he turns to his cameraman. What do you expect him to do? say nothing, blank stare, and so he shrugs it off. It's uncomfortable when somebody does this to you, and it's normal human interactions to laugh about it. That is what we do. Sometimes when people are made fun of or something is uncomfortable, you have that uncomfortable laugh. That's what a normal person would do.
And it looks like Mike turned around, said something to him.
And so John Bravo says, Mike turned around and looks like he said something to him. Yeah, what he said to him was, it's going to get real funny real soon. And so Jeff has to be thinking, why is...
I think they should just hug her 69 to completion. Yeah, I think that's what the judge is going to determine. He's going to be like, look, Mike, you may have assaulted him unjustifiably. He may have done nothing to you, but we're going to drop all charges if you simply perform some hawk tua. You don't even have to spit on that thing.
Is he saying this to me? I'm curious. I want to find out. And so there's two ways you could be thinking about this. And remember, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. Many of you are thinking, well, he walked to him and said sup in his personal business and said it's going to get real funny real soon. And you're going to be thinking, that tells him that I'm about to fight you. When I'm talking about real funny real soon is I'm going to wipe that smirk off your face. Wait till you find out. I'm going to get you in a minute. Perhaps he's waiting for his camera to stop recording.
Jesus.
He doesn't want this captured
Every time I see it, I can't believe he did that.
on film, but he's ready to wipe off that smirk off Jeff Nippard's face. After all, Jeff had the mic drop in his last video. And the other way is, what exactly does he mean by that? And so, is it not normal to want to go and find out? But regardless of which of those two is the correct answer, it doesn't give Mike permission to go and then attack Jeff. Or
Yes.
does it? Is Jeff going to...
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. It's not even a question. It does not give you permission to... No. Unless he assaults you first, no, you don't have permission. Absolutely not. Or maybe it does. Boom.
to now instigate? Well, let's see. And so Jeff then redoes his set because he's filming a video for YouTube. His cameraman is there, he's paying him, and so he redoes the set. All the while, Mike goes and get a bar to perform the lat pull downs. And so Jeff then says something to his cameraman. We'll talk about that later. I have video footage. We're going to talk about that later. I want to finish this. We'll get to that after. And so Jeff then looks at him and says, Mike, and he's walking over towards him. Perfectly normal. How many times have you been in a gym where you say someone's name? Hey, John. Hey, Samantha. Hey.
I mean, it's not only that, but like at this point, there's no escalation happening, right? Like Mike said hi to him first. Jeff walks over. He's like, hey, Mike, what's up? Like that's a totally normal interaction. If in any way Mike was thinking in his head that Jeff was about to try to beat him up, that is like completely insane. Unless Jeff has some kind of history of doing that to people, which I don't think he does.
What's up? And you walk over to say hi. This is normal so far. As you can see, he stops about 10 feet shy of Mike Van Wyck. And notice how he stops there. Does he walk right up to Mike while doing a set and gets in his face with the camera while he's perhaps training a client? I don't think so. He seems to stop 10 feet shy. What does Mike Van Wyck then do? He walks
why the
towards
sound effect?
Jeff. And so if Mike Van Wyck was feeling threatened, or perhaps he was feeling harassed, why would he then approach Jeff? Remember, he's 10 feet away. Why would he go towards the danger? You know, Jeff Nippard is just so tough and
Yeah, also, I mean, he is pointing out he's short here, but there is a point to that. Like, Mike is clearly much taller than Jeff. He weighs more than him. You know, I feel like there's no inherent reason to be concerned this guy's going to beat you up. If Jeff had said something crazy, like, I'm going to beat your ass, then obviously there's some kind of retaliation that might happen if you think that's serious. But otherwise, like, why?
so scary a person that I would think that Mike Van Wyck would stay away from him. Would he not? I mean, he's only a former bodyguard to Drake. And so why would he go towards this danger? He knows to stay away. Because many people are saying Jeff should have known to stay away. It's Jeff's fault for approaching him. Jeff was asking for clarification on what exactly he meant by it's going to get funny real soon. And so Jeff stops at this moment. I don't see any hands in front of his face. I don't see a baseball bat or crowbar, nothing in his hands. And he appears to be just asking him a question from 10 feet away. And so does that give Mike the right to now approach Jeff and... I'm asking you because many of you now think that it's okay. You watch John Bravo's footage.
Anybody who says that is a fucking wannabe tough guy. The worst thing Jeff did in the CCTV was calmly and non-threateningly approach an emotionally unstable and insecure man-child. Yeah, This guy Mike is like a danger to himself and others. He shoved him on the ground for nothing. There's no reason to do that whatsoever. But there's other footage, I guess.
This is normal so far. As you can see, he stops about 10 feet.
Yeah, like nothing bad has happened.
There's no chance I'm going to hit you. This is not me squaring up to have a fight. And so he stands unaggressively with his hand behind his back. Mike Van Wyck decides to throw
Jesus
him
Christ.
with an open hand on the throat, pushing him over that bench. And what then transpires? Well, Jeff, he then falls over the bench. Of course he does. Lucky for Jeff, he doesn't fall and hit his head on either the floor or on the machines nearby.
He caught himself pretty well there, put his hands back. But then Mike kept walking up to him.
Those machines, that one where the bar could rack on.
Dude, I would be scared this guy's going to kill me. I would be scared this guy's going to like curb stomp me if this was happening.
Imagine hitting the back of your head like that. It could have ended very poorly. And so remember, in Canada, we have some strange rules. Laws, if you will. And it states that you're not allowed or permitted to approach someone with a camera, as it may in fact be considered to be harassment. But remember, even if the court were to deem that this is harassment by Jeff, it doesn't give him the right to assault him. But even if it did, let's say Jeff walked...
They're also, though, in a gym where everybody just films. Like, Mike clearly saw the camera beforehand. He was comfortable saying what's up to him before on camera. He could have easily just said like, hey, I don't want to be on camera, and walked away. Like that's what you would do if you were a normal, law-abiding, non-psychotic person.
Walked up to him and was making fun of him the entire time with a camera. Exactly what Mike Israetel did to Coach Greg at the Mr. Olympia. Remember that? Approached me with a camera, making fun of my voice. I never wanted to be part of this, but I'm playing along.
All right, guys, I'm here with Greg. You said,
man, it'd be cool to like fight a dog with just your hands and.
What is the brain rot editing? Is a 9-year-old editing this video?
Let's say the court says, you know what? If somebody walks up to you with a camera, you have every right to hit that person, to push them away from you. You don't want to be filmed. They have no right to film you. Get out of my face.
I mean, we'll make a little bit of a rice gum argument here. If you're in like a private setting, or even in public, honestly, and somebody walks up to you and tries to film you, I don't know what the legal justification is, but if you want to like, if they try to film you and you're like, I don't want to be filmed, and they keep going, I wouldn't feel bad if you got the camera or your like phone slapped out of your hand. Like I wouldn't feel bad for that. But to like go on to physically assault them is pretty crazy.
At worst, if this was about a camera, you would grab the camera and put it down. You wouldn't attack Jeff. You would grab the camera and put it down. Does that not make sense? But what does he do instead? Jeff gets up and he yet...
I know it seems like he's milking it, but I do appreciate the fact that he's exploring every single possibility to destroy any argument someone might have for why it's justified to beat the fuck out of Jeff or shove him on the ground, right?
Yet again does the exact same thing. Mike tells Jeff to leave him alone, to stop talking about him. Mike says to Jeff that he told him to leave him alone a month ago. Last I checked, was it not Mike that was talking about Jeff? Mike is the one making videos talking about Jeff and other science-based lifters in the gym, saying, what have you accomplished?
Why is it that you remain so mediocre, yet you know so much?
I warned you, don't talk about me in videos.
It doesn't work like that. People are allowed to talk about whoever they want.
So what is the, there's some other footage that I guess was released that people are saying is like evidence that actually Mike had a full right to do what he did somehow. I want to see that.
You think The Rock can go up to anyone and attack and assault him? Hey, Coach Greg, I heard you said I was... After all this, he then goes and attacks the cameraman. Remember, the cameraman did nothing wrong. He's doing his job, and even once the assault happened...
This guy is unhinged. This guy should be arrested.
Put the camera down. He did not even continue to record. And so how could this possibly be considered harassment? The camera did nothing wrong. And so...
If I was Jeff, I would press charges on this guy and get him locked up. Not necessarily because, you know, Jeff was horribly bodily harmed, but he easily could have been. And if this is how this guy acts and he thinks he can get away with it, next time he does, he's going to shove someone into a rack of weights, and the guy's going to get a dent in the back of his head.
Even if you side with Mike, you're just one of these kind of guys, you like bullies. If you snitch, you get a stitch. You're saying, yeah, but Jeff had it coming. This is not the world we want to live in. I ain't about that life. And so I don't care who you are. If you're siding with Mike, thinking what he did is okay, it's justified.
If you're siding with Mike, you either have to not have all the information or be a person who fantasizes about confronting someone in the gym. Damn. Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've seen all of that. It seems like this Mike dude is a psychotic person who should be in jail for sure. Don't feel bad for him at all. Hope he goes to jail. That'll be freaking based. GG.